Hello everyone, and thanks for watching Edupedia World Videos. In this video I will show you the solutions to the problems in the physics part of paper 1 of the 2015 JEE Advanced question paper. So we are done with the integer type questions. Now we are going to start the multiple choice questions. So the first question is, we are given a ring of mass m and radius r, initially rotating with omega, and there are two other particles of mass m by 8 which are initially at the center, and as this particle moves, both of them they come out away from the center, so the total moment of inertia of the system increases and hence omega decreases. So this is basically a question of conservation of angular momentum, right? The initial angular momentum will be mr squared omega. The final angular momentum will be 8 by 9 omega times the final moment of inertia, that will be mr squared plus m by 8 times 3r by 5 whole squared plus m by 8 times x squared. So omega cancel, we can divide it by mr squared everywhere, so it gives me 1 equals 8 by 9 plus, so this will be 8 by 9, 8 and 8 will cancel, 9 and 9 will cancel, 1 by 25 plus x squared by 9r squared. So that gives me 1 by 9 minus 1 by 25 is equal to x squared by 9r squared. So this is 25 minus 9 is 16 by 25, and this will be cancelled, so it gives me x is equal to 4r by 5. That means D is the answer to this question. So we are given two situations, and we are basically asked that if these two particles are displaced, what is happening? So this is a question of stable versus unstable equilibrium. We know that the electric field given by a linear charge is 2k lambda by r, or lambda by 2 pi r epsilon naught. The important thing is it is inversely proportional to r. That means as you go away from a uniform line charge, the electric field decreases, and as you go towards a uniform line charge, the electric field increases. So let's look at plus q. If it goes a little bit towards the right, that means the electric force due to the right wire will increase and the electric force due to the left wire will decrease. And the electric force due to the right wire on this plus q charge will be towards the left. That means as plus q goes towards the right, it will experience a force towards the left. So that is a restoring force, and it will be able to execute simple harmonic motion. However, if we look at this minus q, if it moves slightly towards the right, then the force due to this particular wire will increase, but that force is towards the right. So if we move it a little bit towards the right, it will continue going more and more towards the right. So this will not be a case in which it will experience a restoring force. This is basically the equivalent of a particle kept on the bottom of a hill. If you displace it slightly, it will come back down or oscillate. This is a particle kept on the top of a hill, right? So in this case, if you displace it slightly, it will just fall down. So charge plus q will execute simple harmonic motion, because as it moves towards the right, it experiences a net force towards the left, whereas minus q will not do this, as if it moves towards the right, it experiences a net force towards the right. So in this case, my answer will be C. In the next case, we are given two identical glass rods, refractive index 1.5 each, and their convex length ends of radius of curvature 10. Right. When a point source of light is kept 50 centimeters inside one, first of all it will get refracted through this surface, and then it will get refracted through this surface, and finally we are told that the rays emitting from it are found parallel to the x-axis inside S2. We want to find out the distance d. So this is a standard geometrical optics question. The equation in this case will not be lens formula, because we do not have a perfect lens. They will be refraction at a spherical surface. So mu2 by v minus mu1 by u is equal to mu2 minus mu1 by r. This is the equation which we'll use. So initially we'll have mu2 is 1, so 1 by v minus mu1 is 1.5, 3 by 2. 3 by 2 into 50, right? However, this will be, again, this will become plus because this is in the negative side. Right, let me just draw the figure here again. This is D, this is 50. Right, so we are writing the equation from this point of view, so minus 50. So this is equal to 1 minus 3 by 2 by the radius of curvature. Now the radius of curvature for this is minus 10, right, because this is towards the left. So this means 1 by V plus 3 by 100 is equal to, this will be half by 10, so 1 by 20. This will give me, so 1 by 20 is actually 5 by 100, so 2 by 100, so 1 by 50, so it will give me V is equal to 50. Right. So now from this it will be another 50 centimeters. Now 50 could be inside this or outside things depending on the value of D. But wherever it is, let's assume it is outside. So let's assume this whole distance is again 50. That means we are assuming D is less than 50. If that is not true, in the end we will just get the opposite answer. The sign will be negative. So now for the second one we will write the equation from this. So for this U will be positive 50 minus D. So we'll get 3 by 2 divided by V, and V in this case is infinity because the ray is parallel, minus 1 by 50 minus D. If you took it to be less, then it would be D minus 50, so it would give, and there would be a plus sign, so it would give you the same result. And this is equal to, again, minus 1 by 2, sorry, in this case it will be 1 by 2 into 1 by 10 because both of them are positive. 3 by 2 minus 1 divided by the radius will be positive. So it gives me 1 by 50 minus D is equal to, minus 1 by 50 minus D is equal to 1 by 20, which gives me D is equal to 70 centimeters. So which means my final answer will be B. Let's see the next question. This is an easy question. We are given a conductor carrying a constant current I in the xy plane, and there is a uniform magnetic field B. Now whenever there is a uniform magnetic field B, the integral of I into dl cross B simply becomes the I times L cross B, because B can be taken outside the integral and integral of dl is L. So the net force on this whole part will be the same as the net force on this flat part, right, because all the other terms will cancel out. That's the standard result and you should know that. So if B is along the Z direction, in that case the force will be proportional to the length of the total wire. So this whole thing will have experience of force which will be the same as the force experienced if this was a straight wire R of length 2R total. So then the total length will be L plus R plus R plus L, so 2 times L plus R. And as the length increases, the force will increase because it is BIL. So A option is correct. B option is also correct. If B is along the X direction, then L cross B will become 0 because L and B will be parallel. Now Y and Z are equivalent from this perspective because this is along the X direction. So if B is along the Y direction, still L cross B will not be 0, and in fact it will be proportional to L plus R. So the answer for this question will be option A, option B and option C. Let's see the next question. We are given a container of fixed volume that has a mixture of 1 mole of hydrogen and 1 mole of helium, and we want to find out certain quantities about it. So first of all, the average energy per mole will be, for 1 it is 3 by 2 RT, we have hydrogen and we have helium. Hydrogen is diatomic, so it will have Cv as 5 by 2R and Cp as 7 by 2R, and helium is monoatomic, so it will have 3 by 2R and 5 by 2R. 3 by 2 RT is for helium and 5 by 2 RT is for hydrogen. Since both of them are in equal amount, that is 1 mole each, the average will simply be the average of these two, so the average energy is 2 RT. If hydrogen was present in more moles than helium, then we would have to take a weighted average, but it is simply N into this plus N into this divided by 2N. So option A is correct. The average energy is indeed 2 RT. We need to find out the ratio of the speed of sounds in the gas mixture to that in helium. So speed of sound is root of gamma RT by M. Right. So in that case we need to find the ratio of gamma by M. Now Cp and CV both are generally found by the same method for a mixture N1 CP1 plus N2 CP2 by N1 plus N2. In this case, both of them are in equal amount, so CP and CV both will simply be the average of these two. So CP will be average of these two. That means CP will be the average of 7 by 2 and 5 by 2. So that will be 6 by 2. That will be 3R. Similarly, CV will be 2R. So that means gamma of the mixture is 3 by 2. So we want the speed of sound, let's call that V, in mixture divided by that in helium. So that will be root of gamma mixture 3 by 2 divided by the average molar mass of the mixture. Again, this has a molar mass of 4 and this has a molar mass of 2. So the average molar mass will be 3 divided by a root of gamma for helium is 5 by 3 divided by the molar mass is 4. So that gives me this and this will cancel. It is root of 1 by 2 into root of 12 by 5. So it is root of 6 by 5. So we see that option B is also correct. The ratio of the speed is indeed root of 6 by 5. We want the ratio of the RMS speed. So RMS speed is root 3 RT by M. So V of hydrogen by V of helium will simply be root of 3 RT by, in one case it will be 2 and the other case it will be 4. So it will simply be root 2. So VH2 by VHE will be root 2. So VHE by VH2 will be 1 by root 2. So the answer in this question will be A, B and D. Right.